That's a fair reshuffle of the room for a second. That's a fairly big reshuffle of the room. Yeah. Of course. There's just not very much space, is there anything? It's there, there was too much light coming from there, and there was just too much in the background, so I've just gone for the most neutral background possible. And the plant was popular last week, so. Yeah, that's all right. Interesting shirt choice. I haven't worn it for a while. I think it went well over the year. You're not putting your rugby ball on there? No, it doesn't quite fit. I did think about it. a second. How's the audio sounding, Farad? What do we think of Tottenham? Bloody hell, that's quite a delay, actually, I think. Yeah, it's 5 seconds or so. But it doesn't matter, does it? And is the audio synced up with the visuals? It's just the whole thing is a bit delayed. Yeah, so it shouldn't affect anything. I look better slightly blurry anyway. So I've got the spreadsheet open and the live stream open. That's actually all I need, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And you're going to send through everything other than the round 3 ounce sheet, aren't you? Cool. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, we're going to give them 10 minutes for round 3 again, yeah? Hello, Alice. Yeah. Basin, first comment. It's not a jacket. Did I say I was going to wear a jacket? Is that... Hello, Emily. Look at this. Already, Basin, Elder and Clark. We've already got 3 heavy hitters of the quiz. How are we all this evening? All right? Hello, Helen. Hello, Victoria. Hello, Julia. Look at this. Punctual as well. It's almost like you haven't got anything better to do this time. Don't forget to say hello to Farad as well. He is here in spirit. And I guarantee this would not be working if he weren't. So I'm not actually a Joseph. I'm a Joe on my birth certificate. Who knew? Emily said hello as well, Farad, but you know you're doing all the hard work. Would you mind just letting me know about the quality? Because hopefully it's going to be nice and stable like it was last week. And if there are every week as well, the beard is going to get less and less well kempt. I think it's still at the stage of just slightly crap stubble at the minute, but eventually by sort of week 5, I reckon it's going to be not Winfield-esque, but it's going to be worth looking at least. The link's gone out. So these people are just so. Can you still hear me all right? Can you still hear me all right? Huh. Requests from the man upstairs. If you're in and watching, can you just pop your team name in the chat like we did last week, just so you can start ticking names off. So even if you've already said hello and given your salutation, if you can just pop team name, if you can just pop your team name into the chat, that'll just make everything run that little bit more smoothly. And we're all about things running smoothly here tonight. Oh, what were the so Pete, we see that you've backed down over the contested issue of who gets to be social distancing. Steph Graham et al. Have thanks for teaching me that phrase, Beaumont. Steph Graham et al. Have won that little battle. Elder, I've decided that given the similarity to an Anglo-Saxon kind of nobleman's name, I'm just going to be calling your team Ethelwold. P. Richards has loaned the rights to the name for 1 week only. Winfield's much awaited redemption is threatening itself again. What is redemption for you, Tom? Is it anywhere out of the bottom three? Is it do you have to be closer to the top? Is it getting the Star Wars questions right? What does redemption mean for you, Tom? Because for me, you've got a long climb, mate. Now, these all look like teams that we saw last week. Have any new teams joined yet? That's what I would like to know. I'm not asking you. I'm asking the audience. No, remember I put my hand to my ear when I'm talking to you. When I'm talking to the people, I'm talking to the people. It was a kind of rhetorical, conversational question. Just warming up the old idle chat for when you're slowly picking your way through the answers. Go on. Very good. Was Chris Crook with us last week? Oh, broken away. So Crook is a breakaway team, not willing to be dragged down by the proverbial anchor that is Tom Winfield. He's struck out on his own. All the best to you, Captain Canada. Financial chances are, of course, waiting for Gav and Angela. Roman and Lucien, hello. Thanks for playing. St. Crispin FC. Sorry, Tom. Oh, the Drages, were they with us last week, Farid? Oh, new team there. Not so great expectations. Thanks for coming along. Team started to come in now, and unlike last week, we're perfectly on time and on schedule, and everything's gone nicely. No issues with encryption software. Lucien says you have a stupid team name. Farid, Ro, did you choose that team name by any chance? What number of players are we up to, Farid? Yeah, this is why you shouldn't make the decisions, Ro. Not bad. Not bad. Do we have last week for everybody else? Clearly had a better offer. Wow, that is a hit and run. Two of last week's podium teams yet to appear. That should be Oh no. Connection just dropped, but fairly easily fixed. Yeah, the connection I think is a little bit less strong than it was last week. So do bear with me if it drops out or anything like that. And hopefully it'll be fairly easily fixed, everybody. We won't panic yet. Hoping to start within the next 5 or so minutes. Hello, Helen, and the Hassan clan. Build it and they will come. Look, everyone's rolling up now. Quiz Read, are you all assembled yet? You were almost ready. If Chris were actually in your team, I would assume that he's the reason you are not quite all here. But as he's not, hello, Hollowbones. Say that again, Fred. Yeah, it's a cryptic name, isn't it? CDS Marine. Could you just let us know your team name, please? Can't quite figure that one out. The Thompson Tartans, of course. Thank you. There's some really strong team names here, actually. We've got sort of contemporary references to the current crisis. We've got evergreen quiz name classics. Let's get quizzical. I mean, does it get any more vintage than that? Social Quiz Instinct, so good. People were fighting over that one. Tequila Mockingbirds, you know, it's a great book. Both books, the book and the honey cocktail book. The Kings have just gone simple. Quiz Read, simple but effective. Choose Life, I can't help but thinking it would be a better name if the choose was spelt differently. But Agatha Christie, again, classic. Finance Your Chances is up there with my favourites. St Crispin FC is a stupid team name. The Newly Quarantined Teachers, they're a favourite of mine as well. Bringing some much needed youthful energy to proceedings. Hate is strong. I was recommending some improvements, Jonathan. That's all. Steph Graham is. She said hello earlier. So social quiz and saying she revelled in having that name to herself. Who else were you asking about? It feels like I'm doing one of those announcements about someone's left their car in a stupid place. But is there a Shirley Morrison and team present? Because you've left a red Ford Fiesta in the head's parking space. And who was the other one? And Will Neeshaw. Are you present? Mr. Armstrong's here, not deigning to give us his team name, but he assures us that he's in. Joining forces. Got some interesting combinations really, haven't we? I think the Hewitt Alderson axis is they've just tried to pick excellent quizzes in a variety of subjects, and they don't care. I don't think they even like each other. As far as I know, they're not even friends, but they've just decided that they tick the right boxes and they've joined forces. A Wilcock Armstrong alliance is a terrifying prospect for us all, really, isn't it? Yeah. Quiz Read as well. Quiz Read is another sort of all stars type situation, isn't it? They've just said, we don't even like each other. We've never even spoken, but I know you know what you're talking about. So let's team up. The Burtons are in that one as well. It's the Wilcox, the Armstrongs, and the Burtons. Blimey, it's all getting a bit 1914 now, isn't it? Austria, Hungary. Farid, we're not going to tell everybody who's watching that Gary came last, and that's why he's thrown his hat into the ring with them. That we can't mention that publicly. That's mean, mate. Shirley Morrison is here. You'll be glad to know. Financial chances are also now all accounted for. I have it on good authority, actually, that the party don't start till Gav walks in, so that's reassuring. Yeah, well, Farid assures me that we are close to being all met. So I'm going to give you another 30 seconds to settle yourselves in, get comfortable, and then we're going to make a start on round one. And just so you can start to prep the grey matter, get the myelination going. Round one is going to be a science and nature round. Science and nature round. So if you just want to flip the switch in your brains to your science and nature nodes, then now would be a good time to do that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What is gig RJ? That's the question on all of our minds. And I tell you, it's not going to be a question in this quiz because I don't know the answer. I can't even remember the moral of that story. Apples? Was it red? Apples red? I don't know. All I know is that ever since that, we've been stuck in the house. Wilborns are all... God, but I saw that as Bernard's for a second and I got excited / terrified. Renards. Everybody now, if you get your answer sheets for round one open, and as we suggested last week, if you take your answer sheets and you stick them on one side of the screen, get the stream on the other side, that's probably the best way to proceed. So we're going to start in the next 10-15 seconds, so make sure you've got those answer sheets at the ready. Just to remind you of the flow of things and to let you know if you haven't played before. Round one, I'll read the questions once. I will read the questions again. I'll then give you a couple of minutes to submit your answer sheets using the submit button at the bottom of the answer sheet. You will submit those. Once they're all in, I'll start going through the answers, and then you will get to hear the scores on the doors after the first round, and we'll move straight into the second round. We're not going to put breaks in between the rounds, but the sort of the second read through, if you've got all the answers, the little break before I read the answers, and round three. As with last week, round three was a music intros round where we sent you a link and we said you've got 10 minutes. We're going to do the same for round three this week, only with pictures. So you'll have that time. That'll be your sort of best opportunity to pop to the loo, top up your drinks, etc. But there should be plenty of opportunity to do that throughout. So we're not going to have sort of officially sanctioned breaks, but there should be plenty of opportunity for you to do the necessaries. So if you can just make sure that you have the round one answer sheet open. We are about to start round one of the quiz, week two, science and nature. All good? Good to go. So if you haven't joined yet or you haven't got your answer sheets open, it's on you. One more thing just before we start. I'm saying it almost as a small print disclaimer. I know it doesn't need saying. Obviously, you've got a lot of tech in front of you to make this quiz work. And the temptation is always going to be there to just have a cheeky little Google search of I know it, I'm just checking, or I'm just checking the spelling or anything like that. And please don't. There's nothing at stake here. And it'll be a shame if anyone did succumb to that temptation. Rise above that. Farid, Jamie's saying there are no answer sheets. Yeah, you've got them. You got them in the email, haven't they? They're in the email, but Farid's going to stick it in the chat as well, just to grease those particular gears. I'll wait for him to do that before I start reading the questions. There you go. Just in the chat now, Jamie. Can't believe no one's commented on the size of my bust yet. I was sure that was going to be the first thing that Johnny Hewitt said. You've clearly taken to heart what I said last week about this being a family-friendly quiz, so well done. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Right, without further ado, because I'm very good at further ado, week 2, round 1, science and nature, question 1, fingers on buzzers. Let's go. So, question 1, science and nature. The yellowish ore, iron pyrite, is more commonly known by what 2-word name? It is shared with a 1989 single by the Stone Roses. Yeah, Pam, it does look like the Arstack head, doesn't it? You're right. I loved him. Question 2. Of what is oology the study? Of what is oology the study? And that is spelt O-O-L-O-G-Y, oology. Question 3. Crab, cat's eye, and horsehead are all what type of astronomical phenomenon? The closest to Earth is approximately 700 light years away. That is, crab, cat's eye, and horsehead are all what type of astronomical phenomenon? And if upon hearing the word phenomenon, you haven't all gone da 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 da, then you're barely human. Question 4. What is the largest species of mammal native to the United Kingdom? This does obviously not include extinct species. I'm not sure that it's relevant to the question, but humans don't count in this either, so it's not humans. The largest species of mammal native to the United Kingdom. What is it? Farid, question number 5 has a drop-down box, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Now, question number 5, just to help Farid with marking, because it's an either-or question, has a drop-down box. So if you just select the correct answer from the drop-down box, he can mark that sort of automatically, just to speed things up a little bit. So question number 5, it's a quizzing classic. Is a grey gurnard a fish or a bird? Helen, I will tell you that the answer, it is a land mammal. It is a land mammal. Whether they discount the waters in calculating that or whether it's not relevant, I'm not sure, but it is a land mammal. That's for question 4. Question 5, grey gurnard, is it a fish, is it a bird? Pick the answer from the drop-down box. Worst case scenario, it's a toss of a coin. And if you haven't got a real coin, just use an imaginary coin and just pick one. It works. It's a good decision-making tool. Question 6, a little bit more in the terms of highbrow science, this one. Named for a Scottish physicist, what is the SI unit for thermodynamic temperature? Question number 7. And this also has a drop down because we assume that you would know all of the planets. So again, this is just to speed things up a little bit. Phobos and Deimos are the 2 moons of which planet in the solar system? And you've got a drop down box, so you just pick the planet that you think has the moons Phobos and Deimos. And yes, there are only 8 selections in the drop down box. I'm sorry for all of you Pluto fans out there. But we haven't got any time for dwarf planets in this quiz. Question number 8. Back over to the nature side of things here. Which small mammal of the mustelid family, native to both Africa and Asia, was recognized as the world's most fearless animal by the Guinness Book of World Records in 2002? Just name the animal. The most fearless in the world, apparently. Question number 9. Tritium, often used to make glow-in-the-dark watch faces and similar products, is a rare isotope of which common chemical element? So tritium is an isotope of which chemical element? And if you don't know what an isotope is, you probably count this one off as a loss. Or just pick an element. You'll all have a poster of the periodic table. Just lob a dart. Oh, look at that. Winfield giving away a much-needed advantage because he can't stop gossiping about it in the staff room. He really is a sparkling conversationalist, isn't he, Abby? Abby, have I ever told you about tritium? Honestly, that man. Sorry, it feels like I'm picking on Tom now. I'm going to stop. Question 10. Yeah, before I lose another friend, I haven't got many to count. What does the letter G stand for when referring to mobile networks, such as in 2G, 3G, 4G, and most recently 5G? What does the letter G stand for in those terms? Oh, and for anyone who didn't play last week, I forgot, I neglected to mention this at the start, assuming familiarity, there are 4 rounds of 15 questions. So some of you might be thinking it's only 10, but rather than lots and lots of rounds of shorter questions, we're going for fewer rounds of more questions. So this is question 11 of the first round. Listen very carefully to this one. What English word is spelled by the chemical symbols for the following elements? Iron, radium, aluminium. That is iron, radium, and aluminium. The chemical symbols spell what English word? Question 12, and this is another drop down. This is a true or false. So another coin toss if you're struggling. True or false? The blue whale has the heaviest brain of any animal alive today. Yes, Pete. For question 11, the elements were in that order. Yes. No, Barry. There's no pressure on the science team for this round. Any more than there will be on the PE teachers for the sport round, or on Les and Abby and Helen for the history round. There's no pressure for anybody in this quiz. No pressure. Zero pressure quiz. It's not like the leaderboards get sent an all-staff email for people to look at, is it? I'll do repeats at the end, Vari, so just listen out for that particular question when we get there. I'm not going to repeat them now. Question 13. Whilst... yeah, I have. That was the old blue whale. Question 13. Whilst we are all anxiously awaiting a coronavirus vaccine, against what deadly infectious disease was the first ever vaccine created in 1796? Question 14. What was the name of the ship that carried the 22-year-old Charles Darwin around the world in the 1830s? And the final question in the first round is, which South American monkey has an English name that stems from their apparent resemblance to Franciscan monks? A type of Italian coffee gets its name from the same source. Mm-hmm. Yeah, will do. Okay, so that's the first pass over the questions. If you've heard them all or you've been making notes or whatever, you are free to submit your answer sheets at any point from now. And the quicker you do so, the quicker we get through things and the easier it is for Farid as they're spaced out. But obviously there's no pressure on submitting it until I read through the questions a second time. So I'm going to go through them again now. At any point between now and when I say stop, you can submit your answers. So, just one more time. Question 1: the yellowish ore iron pyrite is more commonly known by what two-word name? It is shared with a 1989 single by the Stone Roses. Question 2: of what is oology the study? Hopefully the English teachers appreciate the lack of split infinitive there. I worked hard to make sure I constructed that question properly. Question 3, crab, cat's eye and horse head are all what type of astronomical phenomenon? Question 4, what is the largest species of mammal native to United Kingdom? Jonathan, oology, O-O-L-O-G-Y, oology. Yeah, so question 4, largest species of mammal native to the United Kingdom. Question 5, with your drop-down box, grey gurnard, fish or bird. Question 6, name for a Scottish physicist. What is the SI unit for thermodynamic temperature? Question 7, Phobos and Deimos are the 2 moons of which planet in the solar system? Question 8, which small mammal of the mustelid family, native to both Africa and Asia, was recognised as the world's most fearless animal by the Guinness Book of World Records in 2002? I don't know if he's lost the title since, but... Question 9, tritium, often used to make glow-in-the-dark watches, is a rare isotope of which common chemical element? Question 10, what does the G stand for when referring to mobile data networks such as 2G, 3G, 4G and 5G? Answers coming in, that's great to see. Question 11, what English word is spelt by the chemical symbols for the following elements? Iron, radium, aluminium. Question 12, true or false? The blue whale has the heaviest brain of any animal alive today. Question 13, against what deadly infectious disease was the first ever vaccine created in 1796? Question 14, what was the name of the ship that carried the 22-year-old Charles Darwin around the world in the 1830s? And question 15, what South American species of monkey has an English name that stems from their apparent resemblance to Franciscan monks? A type of Italian coffee gets its name from the same source. So that's all the questions a second time. If you can now get your answer sheets in as soon as you possibly can, please. Farid can start to mark them. I'll give you a minute or so, a couple of minutes, and then I'll start going through the answers once they're all in. We're going to go full 5 minutes. The boss says we're going to give you a full 5 minutes. I think it's generous. Soft. This quiz has gone soft. But you got. Let's say we'll meet in the middle. Yeah, we'll say get your answer sheets within 2 minutes. We'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll go through the answers, and then the scores are. I would say benefit the doubt and say that's a typo. We'll be generous. It's only round 1. There's plenty of opportunities to be cruel. So answers are flying in now, which is great to see. Thank you very much. I can. Yeah. I'm just looking at the ends, aren't I? So most people now got their answer in. Take if you've got your answer sheet in, take a couple of minutes, top up your glasses, do anything you need to do, and we'll look to go through the answers as soon as we can. The device. Noah, that's deliberate. The answer sheet to round 3 is going to come round when we get to it, because it's a picture round and we don't want anyone to have an advantage by seeing that in advance. So you will get that when the time comes. As long as you've got round 1, round 2 and round 4, we're good to go. Just waiting on a couple now. Neelis, we haven't got yours yet. Must try harder, just waiting on yours. And winners, just waiting on yours as well. Really? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is my mistake, actually. Don't know how I missed that. Annoying. Of course. Okay, so the must try harder are the Wilborns again. So we don't need to worry about them. And other than that, did Will Nishaw join us? He didn't, did he? So I think we've got all the answer sheets in. Yeah. Go through the answers. Go through the answers now, yeah? Okay, so answer sheets are all in. Farad is in the process of marking them, so I will just go through the answers now. There is one slight error has been brought to my attention, but I think everyone that's would have got the point for that has got the point for that, and I don't think that's going to be an issue. So that was entirely my mistake. So question number 1: the yellowish ore iron pyrite, more commonly known by the name Fool's Gold, which is shared by a 1989 smasher by the Stone Roses. Question 2, tricky one, bit of a quiz's favourite. Oology is the study of eggs. Study of eggs. Most commonly birds' eggs, but dinosaur eggs and things apparently come into that category as well. The crab, cat's eye, and horsehead are all types of planetary nebulae, which are sort of those sort of dust clouds you see, and obviously they form the shapes of various different things, a bit like clouds. So the crab, the cat's eye, and the horsehead just vaguely resemble those things. And the closest to Earth is 700 light years away. Yeah. This next one's a tough one. And as I was looking at the answer and digging into it, the metric for largest seems to be a sort of combination of height and weight and length and all sorts of things. So it might be, for some of you, an unexpected answer, although plenty of people did get this one right. The largest species of mammal native to the United Kingdom is the red deer. And the largest known individual mammal in the United Kingdom was a stag, a red deer stag, that was down in Exmoor. I think he was called Emperor or King or something cool like that. And he was apparently absolutely massive with the antlers and everything. But the answer to that one, the red deer. Question 5, it's a quiz classic, the old fish orbit. And in this case, the grey gurnard was a fish. I know nothing else about the grey gurnard other than it's a fish and not a bird. Can't say it's probably grey, although you can never be sure. Question 6, again a sort of a proper science question, I suppose. The Scottish physicist who names the SI unit, the standard scientific unit for thermodynamic temperature, it's a Kelvin, after Lord Kelvin. See, Justine, who would have thought that watching quizzes and doing quizzes would help when doing quizzes? It's amazing. There have been times, last week, one question that we had, the answer came up and it had literally come up on Richard Osman's House of Games, like an hour and 20 minutes earlier or something. So it really does happen. There's only so many questions you can ask in the world, after all. Question 7, Phobos and Deimos are the 2 moons of which planet in the solar system? That is Mars. If you listened really carefully to that one and you heard the 2 moons, that might have helped even if you didn't know the names, because Mars is the only planet in the solar system that only has 2 moons. Mercury and Venus have got none, Earth's got 1, Mars has got 2, and then all the other ones have got plenty more than 2. So Phobos and Deimos, 2 moons of Mars. Cool. Question 8. Question quite close to my heart. I feel a sort of affinity for these creatures. The small mammal of the mustelid family, native to both Africa and Asia, and frankly, the first animal I know of really to go viral in its own right is, of course, the honey badger. They pick fights with lions and rhinoceroses and alligators and all sorts of things. They are utterly, utterly crazy and almost impossible, it seems, to kill. Really thick hides and poison or venom resistance. They're pretty impressive little things. Question 9, tritium is an isotope of hydrogen. The G, when referring to 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, I actually didn't know this one until I looked this one up for the quiz, because it always baffled me a little bit, is generation. So we are now in the 5th generation of mobile data networks. Question 11, this is where I made my little mistake. I studied arts at university, I'm sorry. The English word sort of spelt by these chemical elements, iron, radium, and aluminium, I had it down as ferrule, F-E-R-A-L, but it was mentioned by the fact that all the scientists spelt ferrule with 2 A's, that radium is RA. So I'm sorry about that, but anyone who has put ferrule or anything that's sort of similar enough to that to be clear has got the mark for that one. So that is my error, but it hasn't affected anybody's mark, and most people got that one right anyway. So iron, Fe, radium, Ra, and aluminium, Al, spells ferrule. Clearly trying too hard to fit with the nature theme as well with that one. Question 12, blue whale has the heaviest brain of any animal in the world today. It's false. It is a type of whale, but it is schoolboy's favourite, the sperm whale. Blue whale apparently has a fairly light brain relative to its size. It's got the heaviest most other things, but not brain. Question 13, anyone who was forced to do history of medicine at GCSE history will know that the first ever vaccine was created against smallpox. Edward Jenner was perving on some milkmaids and saw that they were somewhat resistant to smallpox, and he realised that the cowpox they picked up from milking the cows would give them an immunity, and so on. So let's hope we find a similar breakthrough. Question 14, the ship that carried Charles Darwin around the world was the HMS Beagle. Just looking for Beagle for your answer there. And question 15, the South American monkey with an English name stems from their resemblance to Franciscan monks and gives its name to a type of coffee, is the Capuchin, from the Capuchin order of monks. So the Capuchin monkey from the Capuchin monks, who of course also their brown robes gave the name to the cappuccino as well, the little cappuccino. And of course, within moments of me finishing giving the answers, Farad has completed the marking. So Thursday night, we'll all be out on our steps, clapping for him, clapping for Boris, clapping for the NHS, clapping for everybody. So that puts me in the privileged position of being able to, being able to go through the leaderboard after the first round, and I can see how interesting. Farad, one team appears twice on here, just so you know. Tequila Mockingbird featured twice on the same score. Yeah, so I'll go from what looks to be 10th place, though there are lots and lots of people on the same score here. It will, I'm sure, widen out as the quiz goes on. So if I go down to the sort of the last team alphabetically on our round 1 points with 11 points, all of the following teams are equal on 11 points. That is 129 Penn, Lady Providers, Quiz Read, Joe Wicks is All You Need, Monkman and Siegel, the newly quarantined teachers, all of those teams level on a pretty impressive 11 out of 15. We've then got 3 teams on 12. Winfield seeking his redemption, the Wuhan clan, and the Latvians all managed 12 points. A team has no name and social distancing on 13. And then at the top of the tree, joint first, only dropping 1 mark on that round, we have Tequila Mockingbird and Agatha Christie. So Pam Leach and family there, making the most of the science round early doors, and the Topping Shores also proving their mettle and their quizzing ability. Justine, if you counted yours as 12 and we've got it as 11, if that becomes relevant in the final reckoning, we'll check over that, and Farad will be doing that behind to check that, but we'll make sure that that's all. And social distancing got 14 as well. I quote from the man himself: "The league table is provisional, and he will let us know when it is final." So he's going to check over all of those answers and just make sure they're in order. Steph says only the bloody whale wrong. We will double check those and make sure that there are no problems when it comes down to it. Yeah, and obviously, yeah, if you do think there are any discrepancies, just let us know, and I'll just say we'll try and sort it out. It lets Farid know, and we'll get these creases ironed out. Farid, Noah says that the Wilborns are on the score sheet. Can any points that they've got please be added to Must Try Harder? Because I think they're two teams who are meant to be working together, and there's some cross wires there. Not quite sure that yet. Yeah, he's going to sort that out for you, or Jackie, or whoever I'm talking to there. Okay, so still tight first round. We'd expect it. Some really, really, really good scores given some of those tricky questions. Any discrepancies will be sorted out in due course, of course. And I think that probably puts us in a position to move on to round two. Now, for many people here, round two will be nectar from the gods. And for a lot of people who think, oh, God, quizzing, I'm really just doing it because I want to watch Rollo for 3 hours. This is a round for you because it is the sport round. And the sport round, I know, often people breathe a sigh of relief. Now, some of you will be the other way and you'll think, oh, God, not a sport round. But hopefully the spread of questions and the spread of sports, there'll be something for everybody in here. So Farid's just popped the link to the round two answer sheet in the chat if you haven't already got it up. And if you have, again, stick it there, stick me here. Pen and paper, maybe not a bad idea, just so you can make a couple of notes on certain things. But I'll be starting this question or this round in about 30 seconds. And no, Ellen, hopefully it'll be nowhere near 3 hours. That would be an absolute disaster if it went on that long. So round two answer sheets at the ready, please. Another 15 questions coming at you in just a moment on the topic of sport. And I believe Farid's just troubleshooting some of the sort of score discrepancies now. So hopefully that'll be enough to. Okay, so question one in round two. Who scored both goals for Alex Ferguson's Manchester United in their 1991 Cup Winners' Cup final victory against Barcelona in Rotterdam? Question number two. Including the cue ball, how many balls are on the table at the start of a game of snooker? So including the cue ball, how many balls are on the table at the start of a game of snooker? This might be where a pen and paper might come in handy. Question number three. Which talismanic New Zealand-born back row forward led Japan to the quarterfinals of their home Rugby World Cup in 2019? Question number four. Of the 12 playing venues scheduled for the postponed Euro 2020 football tournament, Wembley has the largest capacity at 90,000. Which venue has the smallest capacity? And we will accept here, because it's a tough one, either the name of the stadium itself or the city that it's in. country would not be close enough, but if you give us the city in which you'd find this stadium, we'll accept that as well as the name of the stadium itself. There is a bit of a theme in this quiz with the sport questions. It's a lot of was due to be played, or the scheduled, or the now postponed. It's almost cruel having a sport round, isn't it? It's just reminding us how little sport we've actually had. I'm sorry. It's tough. I've taken to just sitting around on Saturday mornings in my full rugby kit, just watching TV, just to feel alive, just to feel something. 5. Epee and sabre are two of the weapons. And my connection dropped a little bit, so I'll just read that one again just to be safe. Epee and sabre are two of the weapons used in modern fencing. What is the third? 59 taken as an average of 20.13 across 440 overs. Who took the most test wickets in 2019? So which player took the most test wickets in 2019? Okay, question 7. This one, this question's for the NSBs. So winners: Roe, Lucien, Abby, Steph. This question should be right up your street here. Question 7: which word features most frequently in the name of netball positions? I was terrible at all of these positions. If that helps anybody, probably not. So it's a single word that features most frequently in the name of positions in netball teams. Elder as well. How could I forget you? And Claire. We had a good time last summer in the old mixed netball league. Question 8. Name any one of the last 3 European Ryder Cup winning captains. So they have to be European, they have to have won, and they have to have been the captain. Any one of the last 3 European Ryder Cup winning captains. Yeah. Julia, we are currently on question number 8. And I will go through them again at the end, obviously, to help fill in any gaps for you. Question number 9. Liverpool impressed recently with their unbeaten run, but how many games did they go without suffering a defeat? So how long was that much talked about unbeaten run? Who beat them in the end, Farid? I don't know these things. I'm sure someone will tell me. Watford? I'm sure Matthew will tell us if it's Watford, won't he? There you go. Not just in the season, Jonathan, it's how many games did they go consecutively without suffering a defeat? So I think it's slightly longer than just the season. But I won't say anymore. I won't say anymore. Who else? Indeed, who else could play the role of giant slayers so well? Okay, question 10. Who was the only uncapped player taken as part of Eddie Jones' initial Rugby World Cup 2019 squad? So of the players initially taken to Japan, who was the only player who did not have a full England cap? Question number 11. You got to picture the scene a little bit here. So last summer, August, sun's beating down. We're still allowed out. The Queen isn't actually grounding us on live television. Times are good, and everyone enjoyed a little bit of the Ashes series and the cricket. And we'll all probably remember the image of Jack Leach cleaning his glasses as he heroically hung on to partner Ben Stokes in that final partnership in the so-called Miracle of Headingley. But in that heroic partnership, how many balls did Jack Leach actually face? And anyone who's ever been subjected to watching me play cricket over at the Cash Lashby social fixture or anywhere else will probably know that I would dream of having to actually face this many balls. Question 12, one for the American sports fans out there. Which alliteratively named NFL franchise play their games in the Nissan Stadium in Nashville? So which franchise with an alliterative name play their games at Nissan Nashville? Has this one got a drop down, Farad? Is it true or false? Question 13. Okay, question 13 has another drop-down box because it's another true or false question. True or false, skateboarding is due to be included in now 2021 Tokyo Olympic Games. True or false, skateboarding is due to be included in the now 2021 Tokyo Olympic Games. On which sporting television program are you likely to see Graham Bell using a GoPro? And the final question of round 2 and the halfway mark for us. When it hosts 2022 FIFA World Cup, Qatar will become the smallest nation ever to host the prestigious tournament. It will take this record from which country, which hosted the 5th World Cup back in 1954? Yeah. How many balls are on the table at the start of a game of snooker? Question 3, which New Zealand-born back row forward led Japan to the quarterfinals of their home Rugby World Cup in 2019? Question 4, 12 playing venues scheduled for the postponed Euro 2020 football tournament, which venue has smallest capacity? And you can give your answer either as the name of the stadium or the city in which it is found. Question 5, epee and sabre are 2 weapons used in modern fencing. What is the third? Claire, I'm reading through all of the questions again. I said that last time. Question 6, With 59 taking an average of 20.13 across 440 overs, who took the most test wickets in 2019? Which player? Which word features most frequently in the game of netball positions? That was question 7. Question 8, name any one beaten run. How many games did it last? Question 10, who was the only uncapped player taken as part of Eddie Jones' initial of Henley in August of last year? Question 12, which alliteratively named NFL franchise play their games in the Nissan Stadium, Nashville? Question 13, true or false, skateboarding is due to be included in the 2021 Tokyo Olympic Games, true or false? Question 14, on which sporting program are you likely to see Graham Bell using a GoPro? Question 15, Qatar will become the smallest nation ever to host the prestigious World Cup tournament, taking the record from which country, which hosted the 5th World Cup back in 1954. And see, we're having a little bit of trouble with the connection and things. Barry, what are you getting in terms of connection quality? Right, annoying. I think it's probably because I'm also sharing bandwidth with people playing the quiz upstairs, which probably all upstairs and various other things as well. And I think about 8:30, 9 o'clock is a real squeeze on internet anyway. I'll go through them one more time, and hopefully that'll be enough for people to catch everything. So apologies for that. Not much we can do about it, I'm afraid. I'm right next to the router. Go through it one more time. Victory against Barcelona. Question number 2, including the cue ball, how many balls are on the table at the start of a game of snooker? Question 3, which New Zealand-born back row forward led Japan to the quarterfinals of their home Rugby World Cup in 2019? Question 4, of the 12 playing venues scheduled for the postponed 2020 Euro football tournament, which has the smallest capacity? And we will accept either the stadium or 5. Epee and sabre are 2 of the weapons used in modern fencing. What is the 3rd? Question 6, 59 at an average of 20.13 across 440 overs. Who took the most test wickets in 2019? Question 7, what word features most frequently in the name of netball positions? Question 8, name any one of the last 3 European Ryder Cup winning captains. Question 9, how long was Liverpool's recent unbeaten run? How many games did they go without suffering a defeat? 11, how many balls did Jack Lee face when partnered Ben Stokes in the Ashes test of August of last year? A GoPro. And question 5, Qatar will become the smallest nation ever to host the tournament, taking the record from which country, which hosted the 5th World. If anyone's still struggling, or if anyone wants to, if you're still really, really missing something. But I think most people now are getting their runs in. Yeah, give you 2 minutes to get your answers in, type them out for you. What's the year for that one? 15. 54 was it? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a combination of the peak time, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at the minute. Whether a little bit of relocating helps at all. Give me 1 minute. If I go closer to, you'll lose my lovely bust in the background, I'm afraid. But let's just see if some relocation helps at all. I'm going to go right by the router here. Yeah. Yes. Helpful. Thank you. So not quite where I want to be. This is like Jamie Oliver's meals that he's doing now, where he's all gorilla style. But I'm right by the router, so hopefully this is the strongest connection I can get. Is that better? So hopefully, and I'm also sharing slightly left, I think. So, Laura, question 8. Yeah, through the keyhole indeed. Question 8, name any one of the last 3 Ryder Cup winning captains. And question 9 was Liverpool impressed recently with their unbeaten run, but how many games did they go without suffering a defeat? Pitch is pretty much there. Although yeah, people are still asking for a few repeats. Round 2. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about this, guys. Question 3, Julia, was which New Zealand-born back row forward led Japan to the quarterfinals of their home Rugby World Cup in 2019? Yeah, and that's Julia was just waiting for that last question to be repeated. So hopefully we're all good to go. Fantastic. Sorry about that. Hopefully the relocating will put an end to that nonsense. And I will go through the answers for you. And I believe the marks have already been done. So from the top, I'm not going to read the questions out again because I'm sick of hearing them. But the player who scored both the goals in that 1991 final was Mark Hughes, Sparky Hughes. There are 22 balls on the table in a game of snooker, including the cue ball. You got 15 reds, 6 coloured balls, and the cue ball. The New Zealand-born back row forward, the talismanic captain, was Michael Leach. One of those players who's so beloved that every time he gets the ball, the stadium just goes mad, regardless of what he's doing. Question 4, the smallest venue for the now postponed 2021 Euro football tournaments is in Copenhagen. It's called the Parken or Telia Parken, but we did accept Copenhagen. Compared to Wembley's 90,000, it has a capacity of only 38,000. In modern fencing, you've got épée, you've got sabre, and you've also got foil. Originally just a normal rapier with a massive lead ball stuck on the end, which was said to foil the blade, hence the name. The cricketer with the most wickets was the Australian bowler Pat Cummins. The netball position, the word which features most frequently in the name of netball positions is goal, appearing in the name of 4 positions: goalkeeper, goal defence, goal shooter, goal attack. Missing out the great positions there, I think, of centre and wing attack, where all the real players play. Really tough one, question 8. Good to see so many people getting one of these. Last 3 European Ryder Cup winning captains, you could have had either Thomas Bjorn, Paul McGinley, or Jose Maria Olazabal, or however on earth you're supposed to pronounce that. Question 9, Liverpool's unbeaten run was 44 games long. Question 10, another rugby one, another tough one. The only uncapped player taken as part of Eddie Jones's Rugby World Cup squad was Rory McConaughey, the Bath winger, and we have been very generous with spellings of that name, because that is a fiendish name to spell properly. Jack Leach, in between cleaning his glasses, faced 17 balls for his one very important run in that partnership at Headingley. Could you think of a more NFL name than the Tennessee Titans? I'm not sure that you necessarily could. Skateboarding was due to be included in the 2020, now 21 Tokyo Olympics, alongside surfing, sport climbing, baseball, and karate, all due to be added into the games. The sporting program with Graham Bell on the GoPro was Ski Sunday, and the smallest host nation to date of the Football World Cup, way back in 1954, was everybody's favourite neutral country, Switzerland. So we'll take that questionable accolade from them in 2022, assuming that we're allowed out of our houses and to congregate again. Thank you for bearing with us with those little technical hitches, and I can now, I believe, Farid, give them the league table. The provisional league table, pending any challenges or late amendments to it. But if we have a look at where we are now, have I got? Can I scroll all the way to the total? Yeah, I just need to zoom out. I just need to zoom out again, otherwise I can't see everything at once. Okay, so a little bit more daylight opening up now, and we're starting to see some positions emerging. So, and I'm going to start with people on 20 or above. So this puts you in about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, in about 10th place. Just need to double check that. Joe Wicks is all you need on 20 points. A few teams on 21. That is the Cookie Monsters, Ethelwald, and 129 Penn, all on an impressive 21. We've then got 2 teams on 22 points. The newly quarantined Teachers doing well, and Agatha Christie dropping off slightly, but not by much. They are sort of joint 4th, I suppose we'd say. In third, and it is clear at the top, in third with an impressive 23, A Team Has No Name. With 24 points in second place at the moment is Quiz Reed. And top of the tree, their quizzing pedigree really shining through. On 25 points is Mockingbirds, the Topping Shore family. Very impressive. But again, not much between it, really. We could go halfway down, more than halfway down the table before we start to have much light 5 or 6 points separating first from about 15th. So still really, 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 really tight. As we move into round 3, which will also serve as a little bit of an interlude for us as well, and will give me a chance to actually find somewhere to sit that isn't the floor next to the router, hopefully. So round 3 is a picture round. It's a film picture round. And is the answer sheet out, or is it going out, Mr. Sheridan? You are going to see a answer sheet link appearing in the box, which will take you to an answer sheet which has in it a series of stills or shots from famous films. The answer sheet is designed so that all you have to do is underneath the picture is you write in the name of the film that the screenshot is from, and you're done. Don't need a year, don't need actors, don't need scenes, as we did for the music round last week. So I'm just going to give you 10 minutes. I'm going to mute the microphone. I'm going to walk away from the screen, top up my glass, try and find a comfortable seat. And in 10 minutes time, I'm going to be asking for you to submit those answers. You can submit them as soon as you're ready. Don't wait for me to say so, but that's the deadline. All we need is the name of the film underneath the relevant sort of screenshot, screen capture. Should be straightforward. Some of them very modern, some of them older films, but just get it in. And as soon as you've got them all in and you're confident, submit it so that we can start marking them. And I'm going to say that we will reconvene at 2050 when I'm going to start demanding answers in from anyone that hasn't submitted them. Okay? And in the meantime, I'm sure that Farid can answer any questions that might crop up in the chat box if anyone does have any questions that they want to ask. So you got 10 minutes. Name that film. Okay, how are we all getting on? Some answers already coming back in. Some people doing really, really well. Give you another minute or so just to look through those at your leisure, and then we will start thinking about going through the answers. So as soon as, don't wait for my say so, as soon as you are ready, get your answers in. I was going to sit here with. I've never given you a name, have I? And I don't know. I don't know if it's a specific. It looks okay. It looks like Alexander. He's got the old Alexander neck pose, but then that became a real standard in sort of classical busts, the sort of the neck kind. So I don't. Hair's a bit short for Alexander. I'm not really sure who it's supposed to be. But hopefully something in this round for everybody. Try to go through the genres. Some of my favourite films, but also, yeah. Lionel, interesting shout. Given a. This will please all the Northampton-based fans we have, I'm sure. Give him. Bit of extra there. How are we looking in terms of answers in, Farid? You got 2/3 of the answers in, so if you can now work to get those in as quickly as you can. I'm sure some of you now desperately clawing through your DVD collection and seeing if you can see any of the images on the back case. Last thing that DVDs will probably be useful for, or hammering through Sky Movies and just seeing if you can see that one scene. I'm joking, of course. There's no question of impropriety here. I'm sure people are just double checking, but if we can just get those in as quickly as we can try and make up for a little bit of the time we lost with the technical glitches and hitches and get round 4 done nice and sharpish. So ain't getting on a plan full, still to submit. The Nashers were just waiting on, the Latvians were just waiting on, but mostly we're in. I'm being told that I'm sat in the wrong place, so I'm just going to move over to the other side. That looks silly. All right, I don't want my bust to look silly on the sofa. Just wait on 2 more teams now that I can see. And we're good to go. In fact, I think that might have been the little prompt that you guys needed. And I think we have all the answers in now. Right, answer time. Some great films in there, in my humble opinion. Some of my absolute favourites. And some a little bit more out there. So, film 1, you saw Chris Evans there with his sort of banana split stripogram before he was Captain America, before he was even the Human Torch. He was putting whipped cream on his nipples. That was in the spoof Not Another Teen Movie, and about 1/3 of teams getting that one right. Question 2. We needed the specific film here. Series wasn't good enough. I should have clarified that at the start, but I think most people are recognising that important fact. In my opinion, the best of the series, controversially, I know, it was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. In the sort of climactic scene where Donovan, the Nazi seeking eternal life, chooses the Holy Grail, and as the Grail Knight says, he chose poorly. And the next scene is him rapidly aging into dust as the beautiful Elsa Schneider watches on. Of course, Christ was a carpenter, so he had the simple wooden cup, as Indy deduces. Question 3, a film iconic, I think, for its sort of iconography more than anything else. Steve McQueen in a Mustang. It was, of course, a Bullet. Question 4, hugely popular film, great film by all accounts. 10 Things I Hate About You. Question 5, some of you may have seen this recently. Now all of the Studio Ghibli films are on Netflix and you've got nothing better to do. But this one was the Japanese kind of fantasy classic Howl's Moving Castle. Question 6, I think probably the greatest film of the 21st century. Bold claim, I know. But that was the wonderful In Bruges. About the two Irish hitmen laying low in the eponymous city. Question 7, another absolute classic, the final frame from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid as they charge out at the Bolivian army. Next time I say let's go someplace like Bolivia, let's go someplace like Bolivia. Question 8, the creepy eye hand monster from Pan's Labyrinth, Del Toro. Question 9, a lot of people actually have been asking me to do a Disney round. I've resisted the temptation to do a Disney round, but I thought I'd throw in a bit of a Disney hidden gem here. Not a film that comes to mind when people think Disney, but it is the wonderful Treasure Planet. You have correctly rejected Treasure Island because it's not the name of the film. It is, of course, based on and based around Treasure Island, but the film is Treasure Planet. Question 10. Yeah, lots of people want a Disney round, Justine. It's not happening. It's not happening. Question 10, Stuart Little, classic family film. Question 11 is the brilliant Scorsese Best Picture winner, The Departed. Fun fact, based on a Korean film or a Korean series of films called Infernal Affairs, all about kind of mobs and double crossing and moles and corrupt cops and everything. That's the famous lift scene. I won't say anymore in case you haven't seen it. Question 12. I thought for a lot of you, Jude Law in his glasses would be enough to get this one, was The Holiday. Question 13. This is me saying sorry for all of the mocking and the ribbing that I've given him. I know that Winners has wanted a Star Wars question for a while. This one was Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. We've accepted Star Wars Attack of the Clones or Attack of the Clones or Star Wars Episode 2, but we won't accept just Star Wars. Question 14, another one of my absolute favourites. This is the sort of battle of wits between the Man in Black and Vicini, throwing down with Sicilian when death is on the line, from The Princess Bride. And finally, question 15. I don't know if you've marked this one yet, Farid. It's showing as no one getting this one right. Yeah, I thought so. This is the adaptation of Neil Gaiman's Coraline. That's the other mother, creepy character from another world, voiced by Terry Hatcher, I think, Lois Lane from the old Superman Adventures and various other things. It's Coraline. So pretty good all round, actually. Some really massive, no question that everyone got right. I think the closest, and I'm really pleased to see this actually, was In Bruges, which shows you've all got fantastic taste. If the fact that you tune into this quiz didn't already tell me that. But yeah, some really, really, really good scores there I'm expecting. And I'm imagining a bit of a shake-up on the old leaderboard as well. Yeah, no, quite a few people put Coraline. It was just, I couldn't see it hadn't come through on the old who got it right, who got it wrong pie chart. But yeah, people definitely got that one right as well. Some really good performances there. Well done, everybody. So if we now pop along to the league table. Yeah, some 15s on that one. Well done. In fact, only one full marks from that one. Well done to Ethelwald there for a full house. Good taste in films, I think. So we are now I'm able to give you a top 10, which again starts. So social distancing just outside the top 10 on 30. Then two teams on 31, Winfield's Redemption and the Wilborns. The Cookie Monsters and 129 Pan on 32. The newly quarantined teachers on a very respectable 34. We've then got three teams on 35. Agatha Christie, A Team Has No Name, and Tequila Mockingbird slipping down a little bit onto 35. And then one team separates first place and second place. After a very impressive film round, Ethelwald surge up into second place on 36, but now top of the table by a point is Quiz Reed. It's tight going into what I think is going to be a very challenging final round. Now, for this last round, you're going to have to imagine a few things that some of you might find difficult. The first is that I am a beautiful blonde married to David Mitchell, because I'm going to have to do my best Victoria Coren impression here as I guide you through a series of connection questions. Yeah, she's my fave as well. The second is that you've got the connections wall, or you've got the series of clues along the bottom of the screen, and you have to figure out the connection. So the way this one's going to work is I'm going to give you, there's still 15 questions, but they're in three sets of 5. For each set, there are 4 straightforward questions that have an answer, okay? The 5th question in each set, so question 5, question 10, question 15, are what links the answer to questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. For example, if the answer to question 1 was red, the answer to question 2 was blue, the question to answer question 3 was yellow, and the answer to question 4 was green, what connects these things? You'd say they're all colours, or colours of the rainbow, yeah? In terms of what counts as getting the connection right, we'll be generous where we can, but ultimately our word is final. So where you can be as specific as you can. And if we decide that you're, as Victoria Coren Mitchell would do, if we decide that you're, I'm going to move this bust, it's really heavy. If we decide that your answer, your connection is not what we were looking for, that it's not specific enough, we won't accept it. If you give a connection that when Farid tells me you've put it, I say, actually, yes, this is completely valid, it fits, I might give it, but assume that there is one answer I'm looking for, and I will only be giving that as a correct answer. But for the 4 questions, just the answer is sufficient. You will get marks for every single answer that you get correctly, and for the connections themselves. So even if you can't get the connections, there are still 12 points up for grabs, okay? So make sure you've got your question 4 answer sheets at the ready. If they're just going to pop up in the chat as well, just in case you haven't already got it open. And as before, I'll read the questions once, I'll read them a second. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the 4 questions, ask you for the link, I'll read them again, and I'll repeat the sets rather than repeating all 15 questions at once. This is a round as well where I'd strongly recommend a pen and paper, because it might be that you can retroactively get the answers right if you get the connection from the ones you did know, and so on. So pen and paper would be highly advisable on this round, even more so than hitherto. So, without any more of that famous ado, I'm going to start the final round of tonight's quiz, the connections round. So, question number 1. Name the 1973 Burt Lancaster thriller set during the Cold War, in which the CIA contract a freelance operative to assassinate his former mentor. Question 2. Who was the Greek god of war? His Roman counterpart was Mars. Question 3. Which song, which was originally written for the musical Hair, was released as a single in 1969 by American pop group The Fifth Dimension? And question 4, which English-Australian singer-songwriter released songs including You Make Me Feel Like Dancing and Thunder in My Heart? And question 5, what connects the answers to questions 1 to 4? And I'll read those questions again for you. So, question 1, name the 1973 Burt Lancaster thriller set during the Cold War in which the CIA order a freelance operative to assassinate his former mentor. Question 2, who was the Greek god of war? His Roman counterpart was Mars. Question 3, which song, which was originally written for the musical Hair, was released as a single in 1969 by American pop group The Fifth Dimension? And question 4, which English-Australian singer-songwriter released songs including You Make Me Feel Like Dancing and Thunder in My Heart? And question 5, what connects the answers to questions 1 to 4? So if that was the horned viper question, here comes the 2 reads. Question 6, the first clue of your second connection set. Question 6. Frankfurt is the capital of which US state? Frankfurt is the capital of which US state? And that is spelt like the German city, but with an O rather than a U. Frankfurt, Frankfurt. Question 7. Which American rock band recorded a vocal version of The Reigns of Castamere, which played over the end credits of Game of Thrones' famous Battle of Blackwater episode? Their best-selling single was 2010's Blood Buzz, Ohio. Question 8. Which Australian city is the capital of the state of Victoria? And question number 9, your last clue for the second connection set. The flag of which island nation depicts the stars of the Southern Cross and a golden silhouette of a bird of paradise? And question number 10 is, of course, what connects the answers to questions 6, 7, 8, and 9? And I'll give you those one more time. Question 6. Frankfurt is the capital of which US state? Question 7. Which American rock band recorded a vocal version of The Reigns of Castamere, which played over the end credits of Game of Thrones' famous Battle of the Blackwater episode? Their best-selling single was 2010's Blood Buzz, Ohio. Question 8. Which Australian city is the capital of the state of Victoria? And question 9. The flag of which island nation depicts the stars of the Southern Cross and a golden silhouette of a bird of paradise in its top half? And question 10. What connects the answers to questions 6, 7, 8, and 9? Okay, question 11. So moving into the final part of the quiz and the final connection set for this round. Question 11. Which 2019 film starring Florence Pugh sees an idyllic Swedish retreat quickly descend into violence at the hands of a local pagan cult? Sounds like a Friday night out down the Welly Road, descending into violence at the hands of a local pagan cult. But no, it's a 2019 film starring Florence Pugh. Question 12. The eve of the Feast of the Epiphany is more commonly known as what? It is traditionally believed that it is unlucky to leave decorations up past this date. Question 13. Which 1980 song by the Dire Straits, later covered by the Killers, features the lyrics, I forget the movie song, when you gonna realise it was just that the time was wrong? And question 14, you're going to have to forgive me a little bit of highbrow at the end. I did say this was an only connect round after all. Question 14, which great Athenian statesman is credited with bringing about the golden age of Athens? He encouraged democracy in the city and began the building of the Parthenon before dying during the Great Plague of 429 BC. And question 15 is, again, of course, what connects the answers to questions 11, 12, 13, and 14? And I'll give you those one more time. You can submit your answers at any point from now, but I'll just read that last set for you again. So, question 11, which 2019 film starring Florence Pugh sees an idyllic Swedish retreat descend into violence at the hands of a local pagan cult? Question 12, the eve of the Feast of the Epiphany is more commonly known as what? It is traditionally believed that it is unlucky to leave decorations up past this date. Question 13, which 1980 song by the Dire Straits, later covered by the Killers, features the lyrics, I forget the movie song, when you gonna realise it was just that the time was wrong? Question 14, which great Athenian statesman is credited with bringing about the golden age of Athens? He encouraged democracy in the city and began the building of the Parthenon before dying during the Great Plague of 429 BC. And finally, what connects the answers to questions 11 to 14? You can submit your answers at any point from now, but I would ask if we could do that sooner rather than later, within the next couple of minutes. If anyone wants a specific question repeated, if you want to just pop it into the chat now, I can repeat a few specific questions just while we're waiting, as I've already been through them all twice now. I'm not going to read through the whole set again. It's getting late and we've all got work in the morning after all. Mm. I'll do that once we've got the answers in, before I do the final leaderboard. Is that all right? Question 9, Matthew. Question 9. The flag of which island nation depicts the stars of the Southern Cross and a golden silhouette of a bird of paradise? Thank you, Vara. It means a lot. I did it all myself as well. Without the style and kind of easy charm of Victoria Coren Mitchell, but we make do with what we have. Even with this thing up, my bust is still nowhere near as good as hers. So we'll. Oh, sorry, I was the one that said this was family friendly. I'm going to stop. Yeah, so get your answers in now. Haven't seen any requests for more repeats, so looking like most people are starting to fire off their answers, which is great. Number 15, classy quizzes. No, really. Right, if you get 15, I might consider asking John Taplin to actually pass you through the course. How about that? Because that would be a sign of serious competence. 15 in this round, I would be impressed by. This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. I think the connections are gettable if you get 1 or 2. It's then whether you can use that to fill in the previous one. So yeah, anyone who gets 15 on this one, regardless of how much you watch Only Connect or whatever, give yourself a pat on the back, because this was designed to sort the proverbial wheat from the proverbial chaff. Sorry to all the chaff out there. Answers coming in now. Just waiting on a few. Crookie Monsters, the team has no name. Lady Covida, the Pear Tree, the Quiz Read, the Topping Shores. Just waiting on a few. Winfield's Redemption as well. The team formerly known as Social Quistancing, still waiting on you as well, before it was stolen from you. If you've left any blank in this one, have a go. You know, chuck it out. If you've got the connection, take a punt. Yeah, you've already narrowed down the field just by getting the connection. Take a punt. What's the worst that can happen? It's not like it's a university challenge where you give a silly answer, I'll sort of respond in a condescending and mocking tone. Nietzsche? It's obviously Descartes. I would do that, but I can't see what all of you put, so unfortunately I can't. It's not that I'm above doing it, I just actually physically can't. Come on now, last few. Oh, that was quite Paxman. Come on, please. Answer, please. Still waiting on the Cookie Monsters. Pear Tree. Quiz Read taking this last round very seriously. Their lead is a narrow one indeed. They're thinking, is it Wham songs or just George Michael? I can't make my mind up. Because if you say Wham and it's George Michael, I'm not giving you the point, and that could be you're being chased down. Latvians, I believe, are the Clinton family. I could. Yes, I think Ali Clinton et al. So I keep saying et al. It's like I'm a PE teacher. Honestly, I'm gonna start saying it was just me and one other person. Two teams now. Two teams. Pear Tree and Cookie Monster. CCR says their name isn't on the drop down. They are the Cookie Monsters. Yeah, we've been getting them. Farid says, could you just put it in as admin and he will sort it out? And I'll wait for you to do that, and it won't disappear, will it? Can you just let me know when they've done that, Farid, so we can go through the answers? Although I can probably start doing it now, can't I? Chris he's Canadian. They're famously honest, good folk. They're in? Excellent. Okay, so everybody's in. I'll go through the answers. I'll then I've got a couple of little things to say, and then I'll give you the final leaderboard. So, tough round, I think, but I'm told that you've done quite well, all things considered. Question 1. The 1973 Burt Lancaster thriller set during the Cold War, in which a CIA agent is ordered, the CIA order a freelance operative to assassinate his former mentor, is Scorpio. Now, if you got that one, you probably had your tails up on the connection pretty early doors. Question 2. The Greek god of war, his Roman counterpart was Mars, was, of course, Ares. Question 3, you'll kick yourself when you hear this one because everybody knows the song. Written for musical Hair, released in 1969 by the American pop group The Fifth Dimension, the song was The Age of Aquarius. And you'll all remember it now, the kind of the nubile hippie women sort of swaying from side to side. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. And the singer-songwriter releasing songs including You Make Me Feel Like Dancing and Thunder in My Heart was Leo Sayer. So if we take Scorpio, Aries, Aquarius, and Leo, we of course get that the answers were all star signs. We have accepted horoscopes as an answer. So star signs, horoscopes. Question 6, Frankfort, the capital of the US state of Kentucky. Kentucky. And you're all thinking, are there 4 types of fried chicken? Could that be the answer? Question 7, really, really tough question, and I'm impressed that so many teams got one right. The American rock band who recorded the Reigns of Castamere and also released Blood Buzz Ohio are The National. Melbourne is the capital of Victoria, and the island nation with the stars of the Southern Cross and the bird of paradise in its top half is Papua New Guinea. So for this one, and I'm massively impressed that there were more teams that got this right than not, because I thought this question was really hard. I thought this one might be too tough. We take Kentucky, The National, Melbourne, and Papua New Guinea, and we get famous horse races. The Kentucky Derby. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to be generous on that one. The Kentucky Derby, the Grand National, or just the National, the Melbourne Cup, and Papua New Guinea could refer to either the 1,000 or the 2,000 guineas, all famous horse races on the World Horse Racing Calendar. So well done anyone that got that. Question 11, the film about a night out on the road, the Swedish retreat descending into violence at the hands of a local pagan cult, was Midsummer. The eve of the Feast of the Epiphany is more commonly known as Twelfth Night. The song by the Dire Straits, I forget the movie song, When Are You Going to Realise It Was Just That the Time Was Wrong, Juliet, was Romeo and Juliet. You can probably... Nope. No, I'm asking for the name of the song, and the song is called Romeo and Juliet. and it doesn't work with the connection either. So only if you put just Juliet, I'm sorry, but you won't get the point for that one. And one of the tougher questions on the quiz, I think, but still well done to the 7 teams that got this one right. Bit of a classical education goes a long way. The great Athenian statesman who encouraged democracy in the city and began the building of the Parthenon before dying during the Great Plague of 429 BC was Pericles. So if we take Midsummer, Twelfth Night, Romeo and Juliet, and Pericles, we get 4 Shakespeare plays. Now, I know some of you are going to say, Joe, the Pericles in the question and the Pericles in the Shakespeare play are different people. I know. Yeah, so they're all Shakespeare plays. Pericles, Prince of Tyre, Romeo and Juliet, Twelfth Night, and A Midsummer Night's Dream. And again, massively impressive to see actually the vast majority of teams getting the mark on that one. On something that some people go, it's too hard, you can't do Shakespeare plays. I can when I'm dealing with the erudite staff of Northampton School for Boys. So well done for that one. Right, has that given you time to get the marking done? Okay, all right. So, absolutely. So, Farid is just going to double check and sort of triple check the answers because obviously it's the final round. The final scores matter more so than at any other point. So whilst he's doing that, gives me the opportunity just to say a couple of things. The first thing is an apology for particularly during the second round, the spotty connection, having to repeat the questions multiple times. I think that the relocation has helped. So in future weeks, I will simply make sure I'm as close to the router as possible and that I'm not fighting for bandwidth. So thank you for sticking with it there. I know some of you might have got a bit cheesed off, but hopefully that wasn't too annoying. So thank you for your patience there, everybody. The second is a more general thank you. Thank you to teams that have turned up for the second week. You know, these quizzes do require a little bit of work on our part, and we really do try to get a good spread of questions that work for everybody. So it's really, really good to see a huge number of players again, well over 130 players this week. So thank you if you've played for the second week in a row. Thank you if you're a new team who couldn't make it or couldn't be part of it or didn't know about it last week who have joined in. I hope to see you again next week. We are going to run this every Wednesday at about this time for as long as we have to, as long as we are, you know, until interest dries up, until I run out of questions, until, you know, the heckling that I'm receiving just gets too much for my fragile ego, or until hopefully the first thing that happens is life goes back to normal and we can go back to Mark Lee quizzes at the ends and that sort of thing. So massive thank you. It's so good to see so many people having a good time. And also, thank you for the wonderful messages that we received after the quiz last week. Emails, texts, all sorts of things of people just saying, thanks for doing it. We had a really good time. And in times like this, that counts for an awful lot. And finally, we did set this quiz up with the sort of mentality of maybe raising a little bit of money for charities, specifically the charities attached to the school's charity week. Farid has sent around in his emails the information. If you want to donate £1 sort of per week per player, the information is all there to do that. Lots and lots of people have said that they will do that at the very, very end, and they'll sort of see how many quizzes they play, how many we do, and they'll just count it. That's absolutely fine. If you want to do it as a sort of week to week, pay to play sort of thing, do that as well. And if you don't want to, or you can't do the online transfers, it's not a problem. It's not an expectation. It's not a demand. It's not an entry fee. It's just something that I thought might be a nice touch just to throw in at the end. I also love to see all of your suggestions for round themes. I'm going to completely ignore every single one of them. And if you want to do celebrity rounds or royal family rounds or Wales rounds, then write your own bloody YouTube quiz and stream it for 2.5 hours on a Wednesday night. No, I'm joking. I will take them into account. Even if I don't do a whole round on them, I'll try and make sure that there are questions on those sorts of things. Wales, probably not, actually. I know Wales was the answer to a question. That's enough. No, but I will try and take those into account. And hopefully, if you didn't do so well last week, the questions and the themes this week sort of work for you a little bit more as well. So trying to cover as much. And yeah, I will make sure that my enormous and weight bust is a feature going forward in the weeks to come. Farid, are we ready? Ground control. This is Major Tom. There's something wrong. Your circuit's gone. Can you hear me, Major Tom? No, sorry. It's been double checked, and I am now in the privileged position to announce the winners of this week's quiz and the final leaderboards. So, it's close. God, it's close. I'm going to go top 5, I think, just because that's what I can easily see. So, in 5th place, let me just check I've got this right. Yeah, in 5th place, joint 5th place with 46 marks. A team has no name. That is, am I right in thinking that is Helen Hassan and family? Hannah Howe and family, with 46. And 129 Pen as well. Sorry, that's just changed. Alison Hollobon, seasoned veterans of the Mark Lee quiz. So Alison Hollobon, Helen Howe, and Helen Topping Shaw's Tequila Mockingbird, all in joint 5th with 46 points. In 47, early lead, due to the science round they really cleaned up on, with 47 points, Agatha Christie, giving us all hope for the future, with a very, very impressive 48 points. The NCDP team, the newly quarantined teachers, well done them, getting onto the podium with 48. And then a tight battle throughout between these two teams. Second place, 49. First place, 51. In second place, it's John Elder, Johnny Hewitt, Claire Alderson, et al., Ethelwald, which means that in first place, with, I believe, a little bit of help from someone's dad on sport, with 51, Helen Kennedy, Justine Davis, Abigail Imerson, and possibly Sarah Bradley Brophy, or possibly not. I can't remember what I saw in the chat. Quiz Reed, doing the great man they've named themselves after, proud, with a heroic 51 out of 60 on what I think was a pretty tough quiz. So give them a round of applause. They won't be able to hear it, but Boris can't hear you clapping on your step tomorrow either, but you're still going to do it. Well done, guys. That was really, really, really impressive. Yeah, I'm probably just going to stop talking now because I've been talking for a really long time, and you've probably heard enough of me. So from me, from Farid, say goodbye. Farid says goodbye. We will see you hopefully this time next week. Stay safe, stay at home, save lives, and watch lots and lots, protect the NHS, watch lots of quizzes, and please, please, please don't send me any more abusive WhatsApp messages. I really can't take it. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much. Good night. Yes, end the stream. I've pressed you 3 times. I've had enough. I'm